Thank you guys, and glad to have this opportunity to do a little bit of sharing on my experience going through COVID-19 in China. Um, I guess this kind of casual sharing to everybody, but I would like to focus a little bit, given that I probably only have about 30 minutes of your time. The focus for today will be a little bit more on how PR and marketing communications agencies survive in the last few months. And this also continue to be a big challenge to all the agencies for the next few weeks or months. Some good iconic examples will be shared. And I will also talk about a little bit of my personal kind of observation in how the industry coping with the changes that happened. And I'll leave as much time as possible for you guys to ask any questions that you would like to know more about what's happening in China. So thanks for calling just the introduction. What I'm about to share in a minute will be based on kind of a unique kind of timing, learning from a unique timing of my career stage. I just ended my Greater China CEO role of Cantor Media right before COVID-19. So it was about October, November last year. And I've decided to start up my own kind of marketing firm based on data. And apparently this whole plan was affected by the virus. But it also created a unique viewpoint for me to learn whatever that happened to Cantor, given that I'm still connected with them to provide sort of a smooth transaction and also a viewpoint from a startup in the industry. And for this sharing, I also did a little bit survey among the followers of my account. I asked them quite a lot of questions about what they saw and how they felt in the last 2 months, and also ask around of my friends in the industry and ex-colleagues in agencies like Ogilvy, VML, and others to hear what they think about the lockdown and the whole incident. Overall feeling, just to conclude this upfront, I feel that the whole lockdown and COVID-19 incident has been the Chinese word of crisis. It's a combination of two words. One stands for opportunity, the other stands for danger. So it does create quite a lot of uncertainty on the business side and also people's life, but it also creates a lot more opportunities to the market, to people, and also to business in the industry. So I'm gonna focus a little bit more on the bright side. So because I guess you guys heard quite a lot of negative news and uncertainty in the market already. I hope by my sharing, you probably will gain a little bit of inspiration on what we could do in the next few weeks or months in the whole industry. So there has been quite a lot of innovation and creativity happen in the market related to Marcom and PR in China market. 3 iconic attempts that I try to summarize in the last 2 months has been: 1, a big launch of a movie during Chinese New Year, which is about end of January and early February. The poster of the movie, as what you can see on the screen, it's by a famous director of, sorry, trying to see. Right, okay. This director, the guy in the middle, in the front row, he produced a movie every year during Chinese New Year as a comedy kind of style to entertain people during holiday. This year, the new episode of this movie series definitely has not gotten any chance to be published in the cinema. So this happened to all the movies in China. Instead of postponing the launch day and waiting for something to happen, the director made a smart move. He went to talk to one of the popular video platform, TikTok in China, and they made a deal about publishing this movie to all the users of TikTok for free. And all the revenue was paid, all the ticket box office ticket price was paid by TikTok. And it gained a lot of good comments and good reputation to this director and TikTok itself. They all think that they were very smart by trying to engage with users, entertaining them, and they are very kind to provide free stuff for people while staying at home. So this is one of the incident I personally think a good attempt into business model transformation. Instead of going with the traditional way of selling tickets, getting people into cinema, they just totally transform into a new way to relook at who is the actual buyer, who is paying for it, and who is able to create or generate new way of doing things. And the second incident has been DingTalk, which is an instant messaging app owned by Alibaba in China. DingTalk was well known by small and medium businesses in China for its functions of having to work remotely and helping the business owner to manage the team. Given the lockdown, people has to work at home. DingTalk was well used by a lot of business, even big business, big brands in China, and even schools in China. They are applying DingTalk to students so that they can stay online to get their classes and handing their homeworks and stuff. People like me, like personally, I don't like DingTalk that much because I think it's a kind of invention to my private life, and it just keep me online 24/7. But we barely complain about it because it's normally a company kind of policy. We have to obey it if we want to stay in the job. But what's interesting was that the app itself was widely complained and boycotted by primary school students in China about 1.5 months ago, because the app enables those students to have to study at home. They didn't like the idea at all, and they all went on to kind of App Store and gave bad comments to the app and rated it 1 star without decent reasons. And everybody flashed onto internet and create content about how bad DingTalk has been, and it was a whole kind of a chaotic kind of complaints and PR crisis to DingTalk at the time. So the app had to come out and beg those students online not to stop doing that. It's destroying their business, but the students wouldn't stop. I think people still are talking about how DingTalk is destroying their life at the moment. I think not only DingTalk, but quite a few of brands in China is gaining business throughout this lockdown. But by getting more revenue and market penetration, they overlooked the importance of brand building, keeping up with the good brand image. I think the trigger point of students' anger on DingTalk was because DingTalk spent a lot of time and effort on upgrading the system so that it can keep up with the situation and it can be more handy to managers or teachers to really look into organizing meetings and organizing kind of control to employees and students. So I think the effort on those function upgrade really made a not so nice kind of effort on brand building. That's something that's interesting. I will talk about a little bit more in the next slide. It happens to some brands as well. And then the third one has been the digitalization attempts. by quite a few industries in China. One concept was talked about in the industry, which is called cloud travel. We all know that travel industry was damaged a lot by the virus. And some of the platforms and travel destinations introduced the concept of cloud travel to people who stays at home, trying to kill their time. They put up live broadcasts to a travel destination and using an influencer or a local kind of guide person to take you to the place and show you around of that destination. And I think it's a good idea to use that kind of mechanic to sustain the brand awareness and keep engaging with potential kind of customers. And also, it's a good way to inspire people's travel planning if they were going to travel after the lockdown. But on the other hand, it also is a good idea to contribute a little bit on the revenue side, because live broadcasts enable viewers to give kind of virtual gifts to the presenter, so that it just generates a little bit of revenue to the destination itself. But it didn't help that much. And later, after about 2-3 weeks, as long as all the destination was locked down and people were not allowed to go out in all of the countries and other cities, this kind of attempts has to stop. But I think it's a good example of how different categories are trying to save themselves from doing something different to their customers. So that's about 3 kind of marketing related innovation in it. And I do think that the coronavirus creates a little bit of business opportunities to PR and marketing communication category. What I saw in China in the last few months was that some categories invest more than usual to marketing and also advertising. Categories like gaming was very well in China. This little picture on the top right corner here, it's a Switch game called Animal Forest. It's kind of cute and socialized kind of game online. I personally think it's kind of like a too cute and boring for me, but it's super popular right now. It's now out of stock, and Switch itself is out of stock in China. So there has been a lot of discussion, and gaming industry invests more than usual to the market to gain attention and to drive sales. And also education category get a new kind of, I would say, a reborn to the market. A lot of the online education, even offline education, is starting up doing trainings and sharings with people in different circles, trying to gain a little bit of revenue out of it. And apparently, it was quite successful. I personally was reached out by not less than 5-6 institutions of education to ask if I'm able to provide online kind of education in marketing and PR and digital marketing to people. And also a lot of the companies is sparing their time and money to try to put their employees into online training, so that they are not doing nothing at home, so that the training can keep themselves busy. So I think that's a good idea somehow. At the very beginning, when I heard about companies is asking employees to take online training, I thought it's quite smart, especially in some of the industry. The employees probably have less work to do as usual, so it's a good attempt. And then online services like DingTalk, Zoom also invests quite a lot into marketing and PR, which is interesting, and I think a good opportunity for us. And then the second opportunity that was created, it's um, heavier investment to digital and social formats and channels. A lot of the brands are using influencer marketing and also live broadcasting in China to promote sales, especially e-commerce live broadcast was used. E-commerce live broadcast in China, it's just as the same format as TV commercial during midnight at your time on TV, like influencers in front of camera is selling products and offering discount, trying to get consumers to buy it, and brands are using it, leveraging it, trying to sell more. The picture that I'm showing on the right hand, it's the first ever live broadcast done by Louis Vuitton in China. It was widely commented in a not so nice way by Chinese netizens because they felt that the format and the quality of it is not matching with the brand image. And some of the industry workers, like in our industry, has been commenting that it looks like Louis Vuitton has been desperate with sales in China, so that they have to try anyway to gain sales numbers from China. But I think if I remember it correctly, the whole live stream live broadcast gained about 15,000 viewers, and it's not as good as what other brands' live broadcast has been. Dior also put up a live stream to their I think it's winter series. Again, about 12 million viewership with the similar length, but the engagement also was poor. The engagement of Dior was about 3,000. I saw some articles in the industry commenting that brands that was not ready for digital failed miserably at this time by trying to save their sales. But it does give good opportunity for agencies which is ready for digital kind of promotion and social platforms. And the third opportunity is that I identify as being digital infrastructure development. Quite a lot of the clients came to me, asked about how to set up their own digital or data system in the company, and how to set up a kind of digital ecosystem so that they can engage with customers and reconnect with them by using their own channels in the future. So by going through this low season of sales, the clients have a little bit more time to think about their digital setup and to invest into their kind of digital soft skill or assets in the company. And the last opportunity I found that's quite interesting, not so positive, but also opportunity for PR agencies has been PR incident or PR crisis generated during the lockdown by wrong messaging and also poor innovation trial. Louis Vuitton being one of them, one of the example, like bad comments, Think Talk being one of them. And PR agencies was asked for help on those PR crises. And also there has been aggressive brand building with wrong messaging to the market. One of the hand sanitizing kind of brand in China promotes heavily in the last month, talking about their hand wash kind of is able to kill 99% of the germs and virus, but it was found out by netizens online that it can kill 99%, but the coronavirus. So I just got the brand into big trouble, and people stopped buying it, and the whole image was flipped online. But PR agency did gain quite of those consultants kind of type of job by those brands. Lastly, I think as an agency person myself, these kind of lockdown and situation put all the agencies into extreme testing. about their capabilities and skills. One's been digital knowledge and experience. When it comes to large volume of content creation, a lot of the traditional agencies or PR firms was not ready about it. Brands was dying for agencies to produce more content, more branded content for their consumers, who had more time with their laptop or mobile at home, but the content creation process and the capability itself was not ready to some of the agencies. And also a lot of the clients were looking for agencies who's able to reactivate their own media fans for sales, and also to leverage celebrity fans community and influencers fans community. So the operational capability of community management has been talked about and has been tested by the market, and also strategic kind of planning to digital touchpoint and ecosystem thinking. Like the Louis Vuitton case, if the agency of them would calm enough to talk about what they should be doing and what's right for them, probably they will have again much good result out of it. But digital mindset probably is one of the things that that was tested and that was asked by the clients quite a lot. And also, what I found interesting is that a lot of the agencies in China was not ready to think before the clients and partner with the clients so that their business can be secured. I have a handful of my friends running their own agencies, and it was such a pity that they didn't call their clients at the very beginning and asking if there's anything they can help them with. Things like providing strategic helps with discount price, or even complimentary services, or even kind of free trial to a little bit like digital or social promotion. These are the things that they would have done with their clients so that the business can be saved and they can build a stronger relationship with the brand, with the clients. A lot of the cases that I heard in the past was that the client called out of blue saying that we have to terminate the contract from now on, and clients may say that we are closing down our own business as well. So if the conversation can happen a little bit earlier, I think it will help agencies' life. And then, sorry. All right. I think last 2 points about the agencies' capability skills has been client portfolio management. Some agencies are quite focused on a certain category of clients, especially those booming categories in China, fashion, beauty, luxury. If an agencies only have those type of clients, they suffer quite a lot during this time. And a balance of different type of clients like digital brands, internet brands, or B2B brands would definitely help the agency's life. But it's something that probably we can think about from now on about how to sustain the business and grow the business in the future. And lastly, it's about the resources. This typical happen to kind of traditional big agencies in China. They are in a structure that was very organized and follow the rules. So they are not well connected with resources out there in the market. So when it comes to large volume of jobs coming, like content creation, live broadcast preparation and planning, they're out of people, and they don't know who to turn to for help. And local agencies in China tend to do a better job because they know each other and they can reach out for help. And even though they are not so familiar with some of the jobs, they can ask for help from friends. I saw an article that was published by a PR firm founder. She stated in the article saying that for the first time in the last 15 years, she thought about closing down her own PR firm just because she didn't even think about to connect with people who has better idea on online events and online live broadcasting, so that now she has to pay all the salaries to people who has less knowledge to those type of jobs, but she's not getting any business out of her existing clients. So that was a little bit pity for her, but quickly people, the good news is that quickly people responded to her as offering help. But that's something that we probably can think about from now on, about how to connect with people and get better flexibilities into business in terms of providing bigger kind of wider range of services. That's all from me, and I tend to focus a little bit more on what I saw with the industry. Should you have any questions to my own personally experience or question to the business here in China in terms of agencies or clients, please feel free to ask now.
Thank you very much, Coolio. That was really fascinating and hugely useful for myself, and I'm sure for the others as well. It was particularly interesting to hear about the opportunities that are still there in this time of crisis in China, particularly in gaming and education. I'd like to kick off with one question, if I may, and then I can open it up to everyone else on the call. I'm just interested to hear about your own personal experience of working through lockdown over the past few months. Could you give us a sense of your timeline and how or what tips you might have for those of us who are at the very early stage of that process?
I think one of the biggest learning for everybody in China has been the whole lockdown changed the timeline of our life. We work for longer hours because people is trying to get hold of you any minute. Because we can't see each other, we tend to spend more effort on trying to reach out, trying to host more meetings, trying to see the face and hear from people. Typically, people will work for more than 12 hours a day at home. But I think the intensity of that working hours would be not as strong as if we were in the office, because we would be cooking for the 3 meals a day. We would be washing dishes. We would be like playing with the pets and taking care of the kids and stuff. So, but it was quite a tiring process for everybody to work for longer hours every day, and sometimes throughout the weekend, trying to get things done. And it was quite frustrating to hear from people if you don't see them, and not getting response from internet, from WeChat or anything. So so that's a generic kind of feeling to everybody. For myself, I try my best to organize my time so that I don't get into this disaster of having to work too many hours. So typically what I would do is that I'll save my morning into kind of housekeeping for replying emails, putting together slides, preparing for meetings, and then I'll arrange all the meetings in the afternoon. And even sometimes it will last to about 9-10 p.m. And then I can get a good rest because people have done with talking with me and they know that I'm on top of things and things is going on well. So that's how I would organize my day. But I found what's interesting is that the free time that we spend in the office actually inspire a lot of thinking and willingness to share. I saw a lot of people start to blog about their thinking, including marketing thoughts, PR thoughts, and also their personal life. And the content that was generated is much more than before. And for me, it was the same as well. While I was in Canada, I didn't have time to post that much on my WeChat account. I normally do 1 post or 2 per month. But in the last 2 months, I normally do 3 to 4 articles per week. And that generates engagement. And my followers was quite happy about it. And they start to talk about it and start to joining the community that I created.
Great. Thank you very much for that.
Cool.
Does anyone else have any questions for Coolio?
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Catherine.
I was just wondering about the mood now, both like in terms of yourself and the businesses that you're engaging with, how positive, negative it is for the future, really.
It really depends on the categories or the industry that they're in. I see some desperate industry like travel, hospitalities, cross-border related business. Like a friend of mine ran a business for brands that's coming into China. They sell red wines, cheese, everything in China. Those businesses got into big trouble. All the products was hosted in the custom, and they couldn't sell anything, and they are not seeing a good, very soon kind of resume to their business. But on the other side, strong business industry like beauty, fashion, luxury is still doing pretty much well. People have faith in it. They think that things will be resuming quickly. People will start buying lipsticks very soon. And well, that was the most talked about product in the last year. And then some industry did see that these lockdowns help them to become the leader in the industry. Things like B2B and also digital brands. They have never seen such a big demand to their services and products. So for agencies, I think big agencies in China, they are a little bit more conservative into the future, especially for the next 6 to 10 months. But small agencies and local agencies, and especially those digital social specialized agencies, they are so busy that they don't even have time for new projects. I actually was given by a big project. I was given a big project by a friend. She's running an entertaining business in China. And she said that, well, Coolio, just do it. I have a lot of budget to be spent. People just want to kill their time with entertaining stuff. Please just help me to create kind of application and content online. And I reached out to 3-4 friends who's doing technology development. They all turned me down. They were like, we don't have time. We've got all the projects piled up, and the clients, it just seems crazy. They were like, oh, we need to get our application done right now. We need to get our data infrastructure set up in 2 weeks. And so they see. One of my friends said that she even was forecasting about more than 150% growth this year compared with last year. So that's the situation in China. I think people are more, in general, they're quite optimistic about what's happening. And yesterday, I think it was yesterday or Tuesday.
How you doing?
I think there's some. I just want to finish this by Wuhan city was opened 2 days ago. I think that's a key milestone in China that inspired people. They think that this is all getting over. We are ending this, and people are all going back to work now.
Yeah, that was definitely positive news, and it's very reassuring to hear that there is the end in sight, and it's particularly welcome for us as we're at an early stage of this. Did anyone else have any other questions for Coolio?
Yeah, hi Coolio, it's Rod here in London. Just a quick question. Obviously, a lot of people around the world are looking to learn lessons from initially China and then the rest of North and Southeast Asia. I'm just wondering whether you're starting to pick up any lessons from other parts of the world as the virus moves around? Because we all know this isn't going to be linear. It's not going to start in the East and finish in the West. So I just wonder what you're seeing from other countries and whether there are lessons learned should the worst happen and there be a second wave.
I think one of the lessons, or probably wouldn't be lesson, it would be sort of the learning for all the Chinese has been that we need to be super flexible in terms of the way we live and the way we work. And it took about 1 or 2 weeks for all the Chinese to pick up the new style of working at home, and also getting used to have to do everything by themselves. There was a joke online saying that everybody now has become a super good chef at home because they can cook for themselves and they post their food every meal every day. And that just demonstrates how soon they adapt into new lifestyle. And my observation from what I heard, what I've been seeing, that was that some of the countries is not adapting as soon as China in terms of changing the lifestyle and the way they cope with this. They do everything at home. So we probably just need to think about how we can manage to get our education at work at home, and also cook at home, do everything at home. If we can get it ready and pick up quickly, I think economy wouldn't be damaged that much, and business can be run to a certain degree, and also people will feel more optimistic about what's next. So that's what I would suggest if what other countries would promote to their people, or what business would promote to their employees, is to just trying to learn and pick up the new skill and a new way of doing things.
Thank you, Coolio. One more question which has popped up on the chat from Priyanka. She asks, if a startup client is about to enter the market with a new product during this time, what should our advice be, especially if the client belongs to an industry which has been hit by the COVID crisis? And plus, should the messaging in the media be still focused on the product rather than force-fitting it around the COVID angle? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I think that there are two questions related. One is being how to enter the market. I think it would be best to start with a little bit of research online to try to understand what people are talking about of that categories, so that content can be created in a way that's more suitable for potential consumers. And second question would be if COVID angle can be leveraged by brands. I wouldn't recommend brands to do so. One of the observation in China for me has been that people are less concerned about big issue and society topic this time than it was before. We all know that Chinese people were quite politically sensitive, and they has this national pride that can generate a lot of PR crisis to brands and products. They are so concerned, conscious about what brands are talking about, or how the brand is related to external environment. This time, I didn't see that come out on any channels. People, I had a client reach out from Switzerland. I think they run into some sort of like political crisis, and they asked me if I can do a social listening to help to see if the brand was damaged by that kind of a crisis. But the good news is that it was not damaged. People was less concerned about it, and they are more, for the first time, they are more concerned or focused on their own life. And they were like, oh, I need to enjoy my life. I need to really think about how I will spend my time. So probably that angle could be something that you want to use in the future by introducing new products.
That's interesting. For many, I suppose, a crisis like this highlights what people truly value in their life. And if it's most of the time their friends and their family. In many senses, it might narrow your perspective of what's important. So that's really interesting. Did anyone have any other questions for Coolio? Okay, I had one more about working from home. You've obviously been working from home for quite a while now.
2 months in specific.
You mentioned about your importance of planning your time. Are there any tips that you can share for the group here today about how you can stay proactive and also stay sharp in terms of delivering for clients at this time, and any advice you can give to offset the fatigue and the drain that we've all begun to feel over the past couple of weeks?
I wouldn't say what I'm about to say would be tips. It would be kind of a sneaky personal advice to how to manage the situation.
That's what we'd like to hear.
I normally will try to understand the people that I'm trying to work with, their situation a little bit, so that I can be smartly connected with them. People who is single, living in different cities, I'll probably reach out to them in the very early morning. I'll reach out to them about 7, 8 a.m. I know they will be still in bed and sleeping, but that message will be the first one they saw from me in the early morning. I'll say, hey, I follow up on yesterday's call, and if you want, let us have a call 3 p.m. today. Let me know if you see this message. And please don't do that to any people that's living with their kids and pets. That's terrible, because they will never reply you, because that's the disaster time that they would have been cooking breakfast for everybody, yelling and being asked a lot of questions. So I'll reach out to them late at night after 10 p.m. I'll message them saying that, hey, I know that you've been busy. Please try to respond to me tomorrow, like by email or anything. I probably need to talk to you tomorrow at a certain time. Please respond to me if you want. So that sort of communication saved me a lot of time to wait for response from people. And waiting for response is something that's most time consuming. We sit there and we look at the screen. We wonder why people is not responding email and not responding on WhatsApp. And if we know their timeline, and we can better manage those things. And organizing meeting is also more important than what it was before. We have to be more organized and pointing out the potential output of the meeting, and keeping everybody focused on the key points, trying to not to get people to talk too much topics. You know what's like on video calls, and it's more important than whatsoever. I found myself more serious and strict than before. I just tell them off, like saying, nope, stop talking about it. You know how Chinese is always being polite, but this time we don't have time for that. It's just like, please stop. Let's just focus on this. Yes or no. That sort of talking is happening on meetings. So that's just my kind of personal trick on that. Not as professional, but it will keep myself happy from not having to sit in front of the computer for all day long.
Sure, that's really, really interesting to hear. Thank you. Okay, if there are any other questions, this is your last opportunity before we wrap up.
I'd just like to know, Coolio, hi, how are you? It's so good to see you. I just think that if the Chinese are becoming less polite through all of this, there's absolutely no help for the rest of us. There's no hope at all. So that worries me, but I love the fact that you're being more direct. I think that's brilliant. That's always been my approach. But I'm from New Zealand originally, and we're always direct. So yeah, Hopefully I won't look as aggressive as I normally do.
You will feel tired, and you will feel frustrated. You will feel hopeless after about 3 weeks. It's like you wonder. Some of the questions that I was asked by friends was quite funny. They were like, "Oh, I wonder if I should stay in with this industry. It's like it's killing me." And even they're doing very well in the industry. And some of them even think about, "Oh, I wonder if I should still stay in this city. I want to move to a different city after this lockdown. I even want to migrate to a different country after this lockdown." So people start to think about bigger problems to themselves, because they were all like depressing at the time. So that's, I think if you are managing a team, that's something probably you need to pay a little bit more attention to. Be more kind of do a little bit more human touch to them, take care of them, ask personal questions to them, even though sometimes we don't feel that's a good manner to ask too much of private questions. But this time you should do that and just ask them, like, if you're feeling okay, if this is the good time for you to still keep up working. Do you worry about your future? Those type of questions.
That's so helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's vital and a really important message to end on. Coolio, there's nothing more to do other than for me to thank you very, very much
You're welcome.
Hugely.
Thank you for having
me. Conversation. We really, really appreciate it. And it was fascinating to hear what for us and for many of us is a voice from the future. So thank you very much. And yeah, we'll hope to welcome everyone back again at the same time next week.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It was brilliant. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.